Okay, we have the trains moving, as part of the things that he said. We will have more schools. What about this security that is so paramount?
Now, the primary function of government.
Sorry, please, I really want us to respond.
You will respond.
When I'm done.
You can just note it. Let him just finish. No.
I was taking notes when both of you are raising issues.
Gather your arsenal together.
On the area of security, it's a fact constitutionally that the primary function of government is the security of lives and property of citizens. Now, there was a challenge of insecurity when this president came on board. When he was vice president, the more challenge Nigeria had was from the South-South region, his region, and then the issue of amnesty came up, and it has gone down quite a lot. Now, on the issue of the Northeast and the insecurity in the Northeast, there were issues that came up. And what are those issues? At a point, when the governor of Borno said the Boko Haram was better equipped than the Nigerian army, people maligned him. Yes, for me, the only wrong thing he did was the way he said it. He said it to put the army under pressure and to boost the morale of the insurgents. That was not proper based on the office he was occupying. But what that showed, and what the president had been doing clearly, is it is not just about, kill Boko Haram. We will stop insecurity in 6 months. It's not the way it is. You can't just stop insecurity in 6 months. The question is, we will stop insecurity in 6 months. Look at what we are going to do within these 6 months. We will do this, we will do this, we will do this. But just saying because there is a problem of insecurity, somebody says, we will stop insecurity in 6 months. No. Now, the question now to me is, how has Mr. President been solving the problem of insecurity? One, the security funding, which was a problem. If you look at the guns our soldiers were carrying before this period, they all look rusty. Meaning, because there was a time the former Minister of State for Defense said, for 25 years, there was no military hardware bought for the army. It means this problem even preceded democracy in Nigeria. So, like I said earlier, when you administer malaria drugs to someone in the morning and you expect the person to be up and about by afternoon, and he is not, and you think, the drug is not working. No, the drug would need time to work at the appropriate time. And he has set the stage. Military hardware has been acquired. The soldiers are moving. The things are working. Now, someone will now ask, what about the recent issue in Baga, which Amnesty International is reporting to be the worst case of attack by Boko Haram? The vast size of these areas and the tactics of the Boko Haram. One, they are not fighting the normal, ordinary war that you will fight and somebody wants to protect himself. You're fighting with somebody who wants to very willingly die without even caring about it. Now, they are using human shield. They are doing a lot of things within the civilian community, which, if tomorrow this president says to the army, shoot at sight, anything that moves, shoot. The same people who are maligning him for making very good plans.
So for you, the president needs more time to tackle insecurity?
He doesn't need more time to tackle insecurity. He is tackling insecurity.
Okay. Mr. Akinshiji.
Mr. Akinshiji, before you respond, Taiwo Kuye just got information here that Taiwo Kuye says he's waiting for his driver to bring him to the studio. So we're still expecting Taiwo Kuye, Financial Secretary of the PDP Lagos, to come into the studio. You were going to say something, Mr. Awo?
Yes, sir. Just to take on him on some few points he's raised here. He had clearly mentioned that you don't say this man has not done this. But say this is the best way he would have done it. For instance, when he was talking about the issue of power. Okay, I want to say that the president promises too loud that he cannot execute.
Okay, but he has done something.
No,
you agree he has done something?
Totally. No, you cannot compare. If you say you are doing something, for instance, if you go to the Institute of War and Peace Reporting, you have the record in 2011 that the president said he was going to provide 4,747 megawatts. From the region of 2011 to the present day, 3 years in office, and of course he's going out. He has not achieved even a quarter of what he had promised. Will you now say he has done something?
Wait, you said he promised
747
in his first year.
What are the megawatts?
In his first
Yeah, sorry?
Of power.
Of power.
Of power.
Do you know what the megawatts of power
Of course,
are?
yes, last week.
2,800.
2,800.
Yeah.
Is that not more than a quarter?
No, it's not.
achieved a
No,
quarter.
no. Was it at a zero level?
No, this is it. This is it.
Those figures are
No,
not
let's
correct.
be clear.
No.
Let's be clear on this.
They're absolutely
Let's
not
be clear
correct.
on this, Anthony. The fact that you have a sitting president does not mean that business of government will stop. Business of government will normally run. What the president does is to bring his imprimatur, to drive in and giving character to the business of government. Mr. President, by 2011, promised OHA that if he does not solve the problem of power in Nigeria, he will not run again. That was a clear statement. Now, if you are talking, that if he does not solve the problem of power, in Nigeria, that he has no business
In contesting election.
All right. Now, he has privatized power. But you see, we must also look at it globally. The fact that he has privatized the distribution of power does not mean that he has even started the process at all. We all know that the problem for Nigeria is generation of power and transmission of power. Generation of power, when the president inherited 2009, 4,000 plus megawatts of power, of electricity in Nigeria. By 2011, it fell to 4,000 megawatts. So on the eve of his being sworn in again, as President 2011, the power generation and distribution in Nigeria was 4,000. As of last week, and I'm talking Friday last week, it had fallen to 2,800 megawatts. Please, you can. That is no. Now, please.
To the viewers.
Yes, please. Let me say,
you know that the Nigerian Transmission Company is quite conscious of its public responsibility. To that extent, I want to appreciate that company.
So
all right?
your set of statistics in Nigerian
and they said that they have the power level had fallen because of issues with the gas supply. And if we are talking of gas supply, and that's what we talk about, relationship and connectivity of policies. If you are going to privatize the Nigerian PHCN, and you know that for you to generate power, you need gas, there must be policies in place to secure gas supply to your power generating plants. It's just simple. The problem with Mr. President, sir, it is not about lack of good intention. It is simply about symphony of policies. It is not about lack of good intention, I can tell you that. But when a president as chief executive lacks the power to coordinate different policies, because policies in government must talk to themselves. So if you have privatized distribution of power, and that is on the hierarchy of power generation and distribution, is the least commitment. And you see that most of the people that secured these licenses are chums and cronies of the president. And we saw that in...
You have evidence to that.
Of course, they collectively donated 5 billion naira to the presidential campaign, of course.
5 billion?
Yes.
Check your statistics.
And we go, Mr. Tunde Ayeni.
Okay, you know
we can
what?
start
We
mentioning names.
don't want to start
Obvious.
mentioning
But we
anyone.
will not go that. We will not go there. That's for NEPA. For PHCN. For security, the simple truth is that we are not in a state of war. But unfortunately, the PDP government has taken the issue of Boko Haram as a state of war. It is just about some criminals that have been embodied by the incapacity of government, And what we are doing is we will not naturally, ordinarily even move our soldiers.
So how would you handle insecurity? Because when you say you're not in a state of war, the residents of Baga and Yobe Damatu will not agree with you.
Sorry, Nigeria is in a state of war. Go ahead.
Please. You only have criminals that have become so embodied by the lack of capacity of the federal government. So if we describe them as insurgents, and they are running down territories within our own territory. What it means is that this small